Yeah, yeah, wouldn't lens. We back with another one for the youths in them. Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve your dreams are seeds. Someone just watch them grow, but you gotta believe in them. The youth effect, we're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Create, initiate, push through, no limits. Go ahead and live it up. Respect, positivity, you on your way. Break down walls, build bridges. Yeah.
Good night, good night, good night, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Youth Effect. Tonight is June 9th. June. Oh my God, I want the year to go quickly. January 19th in the year 2026. And we have another lovely and empowering young person speaking with us tonight in the person of Shania Aline. Shania is not new to the program. Season 1, she was a guest as a young author. So she is an author as well, and a young business, small business, and in her own right in the beauty industry as a makeup artist, among other things. And Shania will be we're doing this today as what we call Movement Mondays. On Movement Mondays, we'll be actually doing DIYs, do it yourself, where you get an opportunity to learn a task, a skill, to learn a skill. So we will be having an expert in their field and come give us basic steps and guide us on the things that we need so that we can be successful in main basics of whatever it is that they are skilled in. Tonight, Shania will be sharing with us on how to apply our own makeup, along with the topic we're going to speak on, create your glue, beauty, business, and economic empowerment. How do the three go together? And what little things and businesses can our young people go to that can enable them to be independent as well as to be financially stable? There's so many things that we believe that we need so much to do a business. But the basic thing we should start with is, what am I passionate about, or what I'm good at? And or if you're feeling that you're not good at anything, what skill can I learn? Because also I know there are some makeup artists who are very successful today who learns the basic skills on YouTube. Okay, so there is no excuse for every little thing. There is a market. So we just have to look within ourselves and see what it is that we love to do, what is something that we can do, and what our skills bring. Never underestimate yourself. We all have a skill. We all are blessed with talents and gifts. Okay, so just sit down, relax, and do some deep reflecting on what is it can I contribute, as well as while I'm doing it, I am having the most fun. So we're going to introduce Shania, who's going to give us all the tips about skin types, what kind of makeup that will be needed, what shades that is good for our body, our face, anything else. And this is also for the guys, okay? Because you need to know as well why us women do makeup. Because a lot of the men say that is nonsense. You're wasting your time. You look good just the way you are. So Shania, why do you feel that women like doing a little to-dos?
Well, of course, I think that doing makeup is all about enhancing your own natural beauty, and it's something that you have to suit to your face, to yourself, to your personality. So of course we know there is soft glam, full glam, natural glam. So some girls really they just like just a little bit of enhancement. They'll put a little blush to make their cheeks a little rosier. Some
Mhm.
girls will go full out. They'll put some bold brows, bold eyeshadow, bold lip colors. But not everyone is really into that. So doing makeup is something that's suited to each person. Everybody has their own style that they would like to do.
And I need to say, excuse my manners. I didn't say good night. Maybe because I was talking to you before. So good night and good night to our audience, whether you're listening to us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, SBE Radio. I want to say thank you so much for again giving us another Monday and another time of your week. We appreciate your presence. We feel honored by your presence and your time because we understand time is precious. And welcome, Shania. I gave a long introduction, reminding them that you were with us on the first season as an author,
Right?
and today you come now as an entrepreneur, as a young proprietor of your own business.
Yes.
So we gave us this introduction into the makeup business world. What encouraged you to go into artistry in terms of makeup?
Well, I always enjoyed doing makeup, little glams on my family members. And of course, it extended to friends and other clients for different occasions, just
Hmm.
people being interested in, oh, you did this on yourself. That's so nice. Can you do that on me? And I actually discovered that I like doing other people's makeup more than I like doing my own,
Okay, all right.
which is so funny,
Why
but
so?
not really because I feel like I just like to see how I can use my products to change someone's appearance, but not alter them into something completely different, which is a common misconception. People like I get it a lot. Like if somebody comes and they sit in my chair, they'll be like, "Just don't make me into a clown." And I'm like this is not. If you came here, you booked. You know that I'm going to just enhance you naturally. I'm not going to add anything onto your face that's going to completely change your natural structure or what you already have.
I think that may be an extension of what we see on the streets too, where other people put a lot of bright colors, makeup, and again, it comes back to not probably understanding the basics of the
Hmm.
application process
True.
and what fits their skin tone or what is for night and what is for
True.
daytime.
True.
So, I think it may be part of that, especially if some people are not used to doing makeup like me.
Right.
Yeah. So and how long ago you started your official business as Tabits?
Well, actually, Starbeats just celebrated its 2-year anniversary on
Okay.
January 6th. So it opened January 6th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 2 Januaries ago now.
So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
So
congratulations.
I feel that this session is very fitting since it's in the anniversary month
Okay.
and it gives me the opportunity to not only promote Starbeats but also promote the beauty industry and makeup artistry on a whole.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. And with regards to the customers and the reception of your small business, how has that been over the 2 years?
It's been, I would say that reception has been well, and my customers are always very, very good. Honestly, I have clients who come to me for every nitty gritty occasion, for everything that they want a glam for. Of course, that would bring me to where I noticed that I miss getting content a lot because I do more faces than I actually post.
Okay, okay. And what keeps you? doing more faces, I guess you have to be creative with each person because
Yes,
each individual has a different face structure
that's right.
and different enhancements. So what keeps you creative in that art?
I always analyze my clients. I ask them what they're wearing, what is the occasion, how will their hair be styled, and I determine a makeup look based off of that. All of these factors come into play when I am designing or creating that specific person's makeup look.
Could you give us a tip? Like, let's say I'm wearing all black and I'm going out in the night, but you see I haven't got hair. What would you suggest? Would a soft, because I know I like soft naturals, would that work in a nighttime thing with my hair and
Not
all black?
really. I wouldn't say that a natural glam would work at nighttime, because when you're doing nighttime makeup, you want to put on more so that it will actually be visible. And you
Okay.
want your colors to be more warm so that it will show in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to wearing black, a lot of people usually go for this brown and gold, which is like the common soft glam colors.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I would recommend a bold lip to provide that appropriate
You mean like
contrast,
red? I like the
like
red
red,
burgundy kind of thing. Yeah.
like red, burgundy,
Yes.
even
I
I
like that lip
mean
color. So
pink,
that's
purple, if you're into that. But that's what I would recommend
I
based
probably
off
will,
your color.
I'll give it a try one day, but at home.
Yes.
I'll give it a try at home. Pink, purple, that would be a whoa, maybe Dana and I should say, well, mommy, what do you think you're going to do that?
No, because well, we're talking that brings us back to shades again. Of course, there would be like a nice muted deep purple that could suit your needs,
Yes.
compared to a very bright purple like butterfly, those light purples. Like, yes.
So for someone like me who is in the traditional category and I just keep on doing warms and naturals,
Yes.
um, how would you encourage? Like for me, you see how a little bit resistant I am to the going out of the box.
Right.
What would be your encouraging word to get me to try something new?
Okay, so I have encountered many clients like that, of course, who are traditional, who literally just want the brown and the gold, or the
Hmm.
brown and the white, and don't put any blush and don't do this and no color whatsoever. And I have told them that it is easier for me to take off makeup before I'm done than to put it on. And so I usually do eyebrows and eyes first. And these are the things that actually shape your face, especially
Okay.
your that perfect eyebrow, and of course that eye color, whatever eyeshadow that you choose. And so I would be like, you want to try a little green in your waterline? I promise you will like it. And if you don't like it, I will use this wipe right here and swipe it off for you. All right?
Okay.
There's nothing else on your face, so we can just test it out. You can look at it and you can tell me yes or no.
And nothing wrong in trying something new at
And
least
nothing's
once.
wrong. No,
Yeah.
nothing's wrong in trying something new. And I keep saying, like, for example, if you have brown eyes, like a nice little green teal eyeliner will really bring it out. And so
Mhm.
I'd say, just try it. Or what are your accessories like? Because if you tell me you're going to wear a blue top and a black pants, I'll be like, okay, we're gonna do the brown and the gold, fine, on your lids. But what about putting a little blue underneath your eyes to just bring it all out? And I usually get my clients to do it. I usually get the agreement, and they usually say, "Oh, it's good. It works. It works." And it's not too obvious, because it's not like
Okay.
we're packing the green color
Yeah.
and we're putting it right here. We're putting it just underneath here,
Mhm.
and it's just a subtle. Like, if you look at it, you'll see it, but if you don't, you'll miss it.
Yeah, for me, when I do put on makeup for events,
Hmm.
I do primer, foundation, um, neutral powder,
Hmm.
and I use eyeliner, eyebrow thing, powder thingy, yeah.
Yes,
And what's eyelash
mascara.
mascara. So you see, I even forget the names.
Yeah.
And blush, some blush, and either lip gloss with a little colored lip gloss, or I may have them. I have. my burgundy. I love the burgundy color. I would spot it on and then finger my so it's not too
Yes.
too bright.
Right.
Um, but one of the things I do not like is the makeup, especially foundation, rubbing off on all my clothes.
Transfer.
They transfer onto my clothes. What can I do to prevent that, if anything?
Um, it's not that it's actually preventable, but you can use some setting powder, some translucent setting powder on the neck or the collar of your shirt, and ensure that you always blend some powder down here
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that if the powder comes off, it's usually easier to remove than the foundation liquid.
Okay.
So loose
So
powder would be a good
yes, I have translucent powder and I use that
remedy
too, but it's still
on the color.
yeah. I don't like to say it. So I just decided, I'm just going natural. Totally, except for if I fully need to go to a really really event that I take my time to do colors and do my face up
Yes.
and stuff. But I know I haven't been able to do the you'll do the contouring and all those
Mm,
things.
right.
So in light of that, what would you say when we come back to the men? What would you say to the men partners of someone who constantly likes makeup,
Yes.
as well as a partner who doesn't do makeup? Because some men like their women to wear makeup and some don't, or some don't want them to be too loud. Or
Right.
what advice would you give for someone in a relationship with someone like with a partner like that?
The advice I would give is to get your partner to understand that, of course, your makeup is your way of expressing yourself, and it's not a means of taking away from your natural beauty or trying to look like something you aren't, or
Mm-hmm,
just not being able to embrace what you love about yourself. It's just your expression of your identity
mm-hmm,
and something you find fun, something you like to do. You like to get dolled up because some people, it's their way of, it's a stress reliever, it's their happiness, and they enjoy just sitting down in front of the mirror, taking their 40 minutes, taking their hour, glamming themselves up and going up. And of course, what they would want to hear from their partner is some compliment, some encouragement. No girl wants to take all that time getting themselves dolled up and then hear, you didn't need that anyway, why you put
yeah.
that on for? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just unnecessary. Honestly, if you don't think that your partner should wear makeup and you know you met the girl wearing makeup, please leave the girl alone. Because
I
the
like
girl
that.
knows her
Yes,
thing.
that's being honest.
Leave the girl alone. You
Yeah.
know the girl know what she wants, what she like. You met her wearing her makeup. Like you can't meet me being a makeup artist doing my glam and say, I don't like when you wear that. And I have
Mhm.
to change myself.
Right.
I'm not gonna change myself for you. If you
Mhm.
can't accept what the girl loves, then you should not be with her.
But
That's
don't
my
you
advice.
do you believe that there are times that our partner's comments can enhance what it is that we're doing by okay, for example, okay, you don't need that. Sometimes men don't know how to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't know how to express ourselves. And
That's
in
true.
that's going to create an argument. But in a
Yes.
case like that, what would you okay you say get them to understand? My first question would be, what about it that you do not like? What
Yes.
makes it so bad that you do not like it, first of
Mm-hmm.
all?
Right.
Or and then they can be more specific. Where it's too bright, be ask them to be as specific, because then in doing that it can also help you to enhance better. Because sometimes when we do our own thing, we probably go overboard, we don't see
Overboard.
ourselves. Other
Right.
people can see it better for us, you
Yes.
know.
That's true.
Yeah. So another thing I think doing the makeup, the times when I do it, it helps me feel like as you say, dolled up. It's my pretty time, it's my me time, it's my
Exactly.
self-love time. And if
Yes.
I'm going to go out and take the time to leave my house to go out, I'm going to take the time to dress nicely, doll
Yep.
up myself, as well as make
Mm-hmm.
sure I have a good time. What's
Mm-hmm.
the sense of leaving your house? And when you leave your house, you want to make sure you princessy, right?
Right.
So
That's
how did
very true.
what kind of conversations when you would have with the or tools that you would necessarily use when we're doing a session with I mean, a patient, a client, a client. What
Can
are
you
the
repeat?
basic tools that you use?
Oh, to do makeup.
Yes, you have something to show us.
Of course, I use my many brushes.
Mm-hmm,
So I have these,
mm-hmm.
and I have these. These are my eyeshadow brushes, and I have many more. Of course, I have my entire shelf. I
Okay,
have my different cartridges of lashes here
okay, okay,
to cater to different needs. I
mm-hmm.
have my lipstick collection,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
eyeshadow, my hues, my eyeshadow palettes. Of course, I'm afraid if I move them, they might
No, you
collapse.
don't. Yeah, that's fine.
But of course, I have some eyeshadow palettes here that I intended to use. So eyeshadow palettes,
Uh-huh.
my various setting sprays,
Mm-hmm.
because ask my clients, if I spray, it has to be locked in. It
Yeah.
can't move. So I have these as well as my trusty moisturizer, my primers, and my liquid products and pencils and liners.
Nice. Well, I did have to say I do use setting spray sometimes. So not too bad. I think it's just the contour in.
No, I think you are very much on the money.
Are you trying to butter me up? Should I? It's working.
No.
Okay.
I listen. You stated the routine, and I was like, mm-hmm. She got it down. She got it down. She really has it.
Thank you. Thank you. So no, I have to add on. Avril told me the other day, okay, you're doing well because I was the first one who taught me how to do makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And and she said, but you have to start doing the contouring. I already, so I'm like, okay. I'm like, Shania,
Oh
will have to teach me
yes.
this part now. So, what is your best part of application of the
Okay.
process?
Of course, it's the eyeshadow. Always the eyeshadow.
Why
That's
so?
because I love. That's the place where I get to express myself the most. Especially when my clients say, "Just do what you want." I just enjoy those words more than anything. And it's just
Yeah.
I have to ask a million times, you sure? Are you sure? Because when I start and you end up with butterflies, I just don't want to hear. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm drawing the liner and I'm giving the elongated cut creases and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going all out. I really love the eyeshadow application process the most.
And do you have a particular brand of products or line of products that you use?
Of course, I always recommend the Maybelline line, the Maybelline brand. It's affordable and it is effective. It has been my holy grail from the beginning, and I
Okay.
will continue to stick by it.
Mm-hmm.
Their foundations and their concealers. I recommend Juvia's Place eyeshadows. They are very pigmented and they are suitable for dark skin colors, as well as the L'Oreal line of infallible wear concealers. I usually use those for contouring, and the Elf Camo blushes. Everything else is Maybelline as well. Maybelline mascara, Maybelline liner, and Wet and Wild eyebrow pencil.
Yeah, I love Wet n Wild, as well as also as MAC because it's soft, especially the charcoal.
Ah, yeah.
It's soft, so it glides on very
Yes.
easily. And that's the only place really
Oh,
I would experiment a lot with my eyeliner colors, especially under the eye.
yes.
I love
Oh, yes.
navy blue, green,
Oh,
and black. I have never tried
yes.
anything else.
Those sound perfect. They really
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So we're going to go into this as a whole. Is there anything you'd like to share that I haven't asked? I know there's a ton of things that I haven't asked. But could you share because we're gonna go into you doing a DIY, showing us how we do makeup. And I have my paper as always to take my notes.
Right?
And how do we do makeup from start, looking at our skin tones and comparing what colors or shades should go with us, as well
Yes.
as, oh, you, let me ask a question. With regards to the product, what happens if a client comes? How do you, let me start again. How do you test on a client if they are allergic to a particular product that you're using?
All right. So I usually ask my clients if they have any allergies, and I ensure that when I am buying products that they stay hypoallergenic as well. Because in the beginning I had experienced some products that were just not going with me, and I realized that I might have been allergic to them. And so I when I went into buying, I ensured that all my products were hypoallergenic, dermatology tested, and just safe all around. I have never experienced a client having a reaction. I thank God every day for that. But I
Mhm.
always ensure that I ask before I go into the process.
Okay, great
And then
stuff.
that brings me to reading ingredients to ensure that they match.
Good. Precaution, you always err on the side of safety, and that's important, and I
Yes.
see you doing that. And before we continue, how do you combine your artistry with the business aspect of it? I mean, how do you balance it? A friend come to you and say, sometimes our Caribbean people, give me a discount, I'm your cousin, you cannot give me that free then. How do you deal with those situations? Because you're running a business
Right.
and you're using your product. So how do
Yes.
you manage this?
I ensure to make it clear to people that, of course, if I have to give you a discount or give you the beat for free, how will I eventually replace my products or replenish my products when they are done?
Mm,
People always ask me questions like, why is the glam that much? Why does it cost that much? But of course, everything that goes into, like, for example, creating food goes into the same costing as makeup. We have to cost every product, we have to cost our labor and our skills
mm-hmm.
into when we're determining our prices. So, of
Right.
course, I would be like, I would love I would love to give you that discount, but I really can't because in the end, it's my business that would suffer.
Right. That's right. Hmm. Very good. Okay. So we covered that basis with dealing with your partner. We covered the basis of how you choose the makeup depending on the outfits, their bone structure, the event, the time of the event, the accessories. You showed
Yes,
us the tools of your trade,
right.
and as well, and you just told us why most likely your clients will not be break out in an allergic reaction because you make sure that your products are safe.
Right.
And and as well as how the business sustains continuity. So,
Yes.
with all those bases covered, let's get down to the real stuff. So, what do we do? How do we start to make sure our faces are clean and washed?
That's right.
So, what do you recommend as a face wash?
I recommend Neutrogena brand washes that are oil free for people who have oily skin, or those that are hydrating for people who have dry skin. Now, people always ask me how can they determine their skin type? And it is very important that I know the skin type before I begin the makeup application process, because each skin type requires different products,
Hmm.
different routines. And so, how can you determine your skin type? After you have washed your face, 2 hours after, 2 hours. Is it oily? Is it shiny? Is it greasy? Or is it dry? Is it flaky? Does it feel like it is heavy? That's how you can determine whether you have oily skin or dry skin. There's also combination skin, where certain parts of your skin get oily while others remain dry. That skin type is rare in itself because I have mainly met people who are oily or dry. I have met people who are extremely oily. and I had to take on extra steps to ensure that their skin was mattified. And of course, people who were extremely dry, as in that morning they probably got a sunburn, and I had to ensure that I could have hydrated it. So it's
Okay.
important, firstly, that you know your skin type. And
Okay.
also, if you sweat a lot, you would require extra steps as well, like a toner, a makeup sealant,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Okay. Nice. All right. So before we go into you starting your DIY, I want to make sure that when we come into how we cleanse our face of the makeup, that we discuss a daily face routine, a daily facial routine, and
Right.
why that would be important. It will
Yes.
come in at the end of the day when you come home to clean your face and stuff like that, which you'll
Yes.
be doing, showing us when you're taking it off. So we're just gonna go through the process. So the floor is yours. About 9 o'clock, we will stop for a break and take it away.
All right. So, good night, everybody. And we're going to enter into the DIY portion of this video. And of course, like I said before, the most important or the first step is to always ensure that your skin is clean and washed. So before I came, I washed my face with my Neutrogena turmeric wash. And now I am going to do another cleansing using some micellar water and a cotton pad. So I'm going to put some on my cotton pad and pass it on my face to ensure that I have cleaned my face of any muck or any residual hair products, for example, that might have fallen onto my face. All right. So, my first step would be to moisturize. Now, it's important that no matter your skin type, whether oily or dry, you use a moisturizer. Moisturizing creates a barrier that protects your skin before you can put on any makeup or any of the other products. And so it's important, even if you have oily or dry skin, to moisturize. This moisturizer is the Neutrogena Ultra Gentle Daily Facial Moisturizer. And it's for normal to sensitive skin because, like I said, I ensure that my products are hypoallergenic and they can be used for sensitive skins, like skins of eczema that suffer from acne. Now, this one is oil free and it also has niacinamide and vitamin E, which are ingredients that help to ensure that your makeup stays on well. So, I'm going to just moisturize my face. And I'm gonna rub it in. And I'm going to allow the moisturizer to sit on my face. Now, that's something that's very important. You need to ensure that each step, each product dries on your face. It's important. Before you move on to any other step or you begin putting anything on your face, you want to ensure that everything you have put on before has had time to settle and make itself. It's important that you don't just go rushing in and putting some foundation on right now or just putting on your primer, because if you do, your primer and your moisturizer is going to mix and they're not going to do what they're supposed to do. So you can keep feeling your face until you feel that the moisturizer has dried. And of course, always ensure that you get your ears and your neck when you're doing makeup, because they are going to show if there's like a difference in skin tone or if your foundation is off matched. All of that is going to show. Now, I start my makeup routine by doing my brows. And so I'm going to use some translucent setting powder and pack some of it onto my brows to give myself a dry canvas. Now, it's because I don't want to use, like I said, I don't want to use my products on any wet spaces. So I'm going to put some translucent powder on my eyebrows to dry the area to give me control. And now I'm going to use my trusty Wet and Wild eyebrow pencil. Now, how I'm going to draw my eyebrows is I'm going to map out the exact shape that I already have. Now, sometimes we don't do our brows before our appointments. And so, if you know your desired shape, how long you would like your brow to be, the arch that you would like your brow to have, you can do all that mapping on your own. But there's also a technique where you can mark where your brow should start, where your arch should be, and where your brow should end. So, if you put your pencil right here on the edge of your nose and the end of your eye, you can mark where your brow should start. Now, through your pupil, staring straight, and back to the edge of the nose, you can mark where your brow should arch. And then, using the edge of your nose once again and the edge of your eye, you can mark where your brow should end. Now, my brow is already shaped to my desired shape. So, what I'm going to do is take my eyebrow pencil and map out below my brow. And I'm going to do this in strokes. I'm not going to just draw a harsh line. I'm going to slowly map out what I want. So if you can see that, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, I like to do everything together instead of doing one eyebrow and then doing the other to ensure that I have uniformity. Now I'm going to go to the top of my brow as well and just repeat that same thing. Following the natural shape of my brow, I'm going to come here, do my arch, and then bring it down to close. So I did this side, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Draw the top, natural shape, and bring it down to meet this. Now I'm going to fill in, starting with the tail, which will be the darkest portion of the brow, and going to the front. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, like I said. And now if you notice that I'm coming up to this point, but I am not going to the front of the brow since we want to create an ombre effect. Now I'm going to use this spoolie here to blend the edges of my eyebrows and to ensure a natural finish. To erase any harsh lines and to spread out the color evenly. Now for the front of the brow, I'm just going to pass the spoolie and blend the lines that I had to get this ombre effect. Now you can watch the brow and filling any sparse areas, any areas of your brow that you think need more color. And ensure that the shape is what you desire. Now we're going to use our concealer. Now I'm going to use a concealer that is one shade lighter than my skin tone to do the front of the brow, and then one that is two shades lighter to do the arch. That is also to ensure that we have the ombre effect. I'm using the back of my hand to take the product out of the tube. And I'm going to use a flat concealer brush, a brush like this, to do the carving or the shaping of the brows. So I'm going to start here and slowly, again, we're just following the shape that we have given ourselves and stopping just before we reach the arch, like this. Then I'm going to do the same to the other side and stopping just before I reach the arch. You can also drag your concealer here to ensure that you're getting equal shapes on your brows. Now I'm going to use that shade that's 2 shades lighter than the brow to do the tail and the arch. Picking up the concealer on that flat brush again and going to this arch right here. And doing the same to the other side. Now I'm going to pick up a fluffy blending brush and blend out this concealer down to my eyes. I'm bringing it down to my eyes since I'm going to do some eyeshadow. But if I wasn't doing eyeshadow, I would blend it away and then use a Q-tip to wipe out a little bit of the concealer to give myself a natural look. I'm going back in with my spoolie once again and blending out the brow. Now that color that was close to my skin tone, one shade, we're going to carve out the top of the brow. We're just following what we drew. And going back in with that fluffy brush and blending that out. We want to ensure that when we blend that the edges are not harsh, that they are seamless. All right. So what I'm going to do now is move on to the eyeshadow. And like I said, I do my makeup routine a little differently. I do my eyebrows and my eyes first, and then I do or move on to my skin and complexion routine. So I'm taking that concealer that was 2 shades lighter and going to put it all over my eyes and blending it out with that fluffy brush once again. Now I decided that the look tonight would be a simple or soft glam, which is the most common glam that you can do, and it's using browns, neutral eyeshadows, and whites or shimmers. And tonight I'm going to be using my Juvia's Place Warrior palette to complete these looks. So I have here the Warrior 2 palette, which has shades like these. And I'm going to be taking in these browns and this darker shade. And then I would have used this white, but I decided that I'm going to use these shimmers from the Warrior palette by Juvia's Place. So the first thing we're going to do is use a light brown or a brown that is closer to my skin tone to blend into my lid right here. And I'm going to be using a dense brush to pack in more color into the eyes. So using this palette, I'm going to choose the lightest brown, which would be this one here. And I'm just saturating the brush, dusting off any excess, and blending into my crease and down onto the lid. So this area here of your eye where it folds is called the crease. And that's where I'm putting my first shade. Now, like I said before, whatever I do to one eye, I'm going to do to the other. So I'm going to do the same thing, blend it out into the crease and down to this outer portion of the lid. And I'm making this shape that's almost like this, the shape of the lid. So I'm coming up the crease and coming down into the corner of the lid with this brown. Now this just adds a little natural enhancement before we go in and we add the darker shades. This is what we call our transitional color because it's going to transition between our lighter shade and our darker shade. Now, I'm going to pick up a little brush, a smaller brush, like this size here. And I'm going to pick up one of the darker shades to give myself a little more contrast on the edge of the eye. And I'm going to be using this shade here, this darker shade here. And I'm going to just pat it a little, just put a little bit, a little bit. It might be looking scary right now. It always looks scary at first, but eventually you will see what happens. All right. Now we're going to go back with that brush that we put the brown on our lid. And we're going to blend out that dark brown that we put there, focusing more on bringing it down to the lid. So we're bringing it down to the lid and then bringing it up in the crease a little bit. This is a very common everyday cut crease look. I'm not going to be cutting the crease with concealer. Just going to show you how you can create it without having to use that sculpting brush and cut that crease with concealer. So I'm blending out that dark shade, focusing mainly on putting it on the lid. I'm putting a little bit of it into my crease. Now again, you watch how your eye folds and you blend into that crease there. Now we're going to use a lighter shade to blend or buff out these colors. I'm using this palette and picking up this shade and just blending the two colors together and softening the edges of the eyeshadow. So very subtle, very there, but very not there. So we're ensuring that it looks natural, it blends out, but it doesn't look too harsh. On Now we're going to move on to putting some shimmer eyeshadow onto the lid. So you could have used this bone color eyeshadow right here, or you can use some shimmer. So I'm going to pick up this one here in the center with my finger and place it on the inner portion of my lid. Now, of course, as a beginner in makeup or as somebody who is learning, you're not going to have so many brushes and tools. So I'm showing you how you can create these looks using what is available to you. So, of course, use your finger and put that shimmer on your eyelid. And just like that, you have created a cut crease look without actually using any concealer to cut the crease, which will be a little scary when you're first learning to do makeup. Now you're going to go back in with that brown again. And if you notice, I keep dipping back into the colors that I've used before because this is to ensure that we have a seamless blend. So back into that first brown once again, and we're going to reinforce that color right up here. Bring it down, back into the crease, back onto the lid. Same thing like we did in the beginning. Crease and blend down to the lid. That last shade that we used, that's back with that darker shade. Put it out in that outer portion of the lid. And the last brown shade that we used again to blend them all together. And now we're going to pick up that mascara, give it a little shake, and we're going to coat our lashes with the mascara. And I'm doing it in these upward motions, trying to break apart or open up the lashes and coat every one of them. So that's my first coat of mascara. And I'll go back and do another coat. Just because I want to prioritize length. And that will be all for the eyes and the eyebrows. Now we're going to move on.
Hi, it's Shania. Let me just say, as you finish with the eyebrows, I learned so much. I mean, the first part of the eyes. Um, could you explain a little bit what the ombre effect means? I saw you do this, but I didn't really get what it means. Could you clarify that?
Sure. What the ombre effect means is that when you look at your eyebrow or when you draw your eyebrow, you want to have different tones, as in the front of the eyebrow will be a little bit lighter, not this big difference, but it will give it a more natural flare effect because as you look at the eyebrow, the front will be lighter in color and then the end will be darker.
Okay.
So it goes from this light front to this dark tail, but
Okay.
not too dark.
And then it will be like blending in, so to give a nice flow to it, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. How do we choose the concealers? You said one shade lighter than our skin or two shades lighter. How do we choose that?
Of course, well, you would look at your foundation shade
Mm-hmm.
and then you would match the concealer based on that shade. So you would, for example, I would recommend putting the concealer on the foundation onto your hand hair and then looking at the shades of the concealer so you can see which ones are lighter and would give you a highlighting effect.
So it's in contrast to the foundation. So how do we choose the correct foundation for us?
Of course, you look at matching your neck and not your hands because sometimes people would do the
Oh, I
matching
know.
of the
Yeah, I do
foundation
that
and
with
the
my
hands.
hands.
But you want to match your neck, so you want to use this portion of your face, like the edge of your jawline here and down to your neck to ensure that the match is very seamless.
Okay.
Because when people are watching your makeup, they're watching how it comes down to your neck, not how it
Okay.
comes down to your
Okay.
hand.
Yes, that's a great point. That's a great point. Okay, so we've done the first part of our face, and we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, what next we're gonna be
We're
completing?
going to move on to the complexion. So
Mm-hmm.
the foundation, the highlighting, and the contour, your part.
My part, and I found that very interesting because I always did my thought that the foundation goes first, that the
Right.
moisturizer, then the primer, primer, and then foundation. And I
Right.
realized that the eyes first.
Yeah.
So that is one change I have to make. So we're going to go to a break, and I am hopeful that we are learning something. I am learning a lot with regards and something new. I see so many things I've been doing wrong when I actually do my makeup. And so thank you so much already for that. We're gonna go to a break, and we're gonna ask our audience to stay tuned. Remember, you're looking at the Youth Effect with our host, Shania Aline from CEO of Stabits. We'll be right back.
Every bestseller, every life-changing story starts the same way, with a single idea. The question is, will yours stay hidden, or will it shine for the world to see? At G&D Enterprises, Inc., we don't just make books. We bring dreams to life. From first draft to finished masterpiece, we're your partners in editing, design, publishing, and even audiobook production. Your book's cover is your handshake with the world. It has to captivate. It has to invite. And once readers open it, every page must deliver a polished, professional experience. That's our promise. Great stories deserve great polish. Our editors sharpen your words, enhance your clarity, and protect your unique voice. Because your story deserves nothing less than excellence. Stories aren't just read anymore, they're experienced. With professional audiobook production, your words travel beyond the page and straight into the hearts of your listeners. And when you're ready, we'll guide you through publishing and KDP setup so your book doesn't just exist, it thrives in the marketplace. This is more than publishing. This is your legacy. Whether it's your debut novel or your fifth big release, we bring the expertise, creativity, and personal care that turn writers into authors, and authors into legends. The world is waiting for your story. Don't let it stay in the shadows. Partner with G&D Enterprises today, and let's publish the book only you can write. Visit gndenterprisesinc.com/book-design.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you imagine? I went through that whole thing, and I have this. Oh my goodness, technology, Mike.
I was
I
just
was
telling
saying,
you you're
excuse me.
muted.
I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
giving a summary that Shania took us to the first part in terms of doing the eyes and the colors and tones that we need,
Right.
and to do a natural glam and a daily look that we can
Yes.
use,
Yes.
and with naturals and soft colors, as you make sure that it is a day thing. So you go with
Yes.
soft and neutrals.
Something.
So without much ado, we're going to go in the second part of complexion and toning, right?
Yes.
And seeing how we do the application of the foundation and contouring.
Right.
Yes. And addition of blush. So we
Of course.
have half an hour with you to show you this, and stay tuned because Shania the expert from Star Beats here, what Star Beats
That's
is
right.
gonna blow you again, blow your way with the next application, please.
Yeah.
Shania?
So we're continuing with our routine, and now we're moving on to primer. Now, of course, like Nikki tutorial says, not to prime is a crime. You gotta ensure that you use a good primer underneath that foundation, underneath that makeup, to ensure that it is smooth and it will last longer. So this is the Wet and Wild Face Matte Primer. And like I said, primers depend on different skin types. This is for oily skin because we want to mattify the areas that are oily and that are greasy. However, if you have drier skin, you can lean towards a power grip or a primer such as this, which will help your makeup stick to your face while also providing some hydration. So I'm going to put my primer on and I'm going to apply it in little dots around my face to ensure that I get even distribution. This primer is amazing and it really mattifies the face. Like you immediately feel the effects when you have put it on. I like using my hands to apply my primer and my moisturizer because you just warm it up and you press it into the skin and ensure that it is ready to allow for that smooth base. So immediately you can already see the skin just drying, mattifying, and the shine that was there all this time is now gone. Like I said, you can allow it to dry. So I'm gonna give it a little time to dry, like okay, not that much time, just like 30 seconds to a minute to let it dry onto the face and make itself while preparing my complexion product. So I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade 335. There is a vast range of shades, not only for dark skin tones, but also for light skin tones. And the Maybelline is pretty affordable. It's about $9 for this foundation. And I'm going to apply it in dots and in increments on my face to allow myself to blend it. You can always build with your complexion products. So I want to put dots here and blend outwards because I want to build coverage. So I'm going to dot it on my face like this, just like I did the primer and the moisturizer before it. And I'm going to use a flat top brush. It's a brush with this flat top. And I'm going to use stippling motions, which is this pressing it into the skin instead of this motion of swirling and moving the product into places I don't want it. So remember, we're blending outwards and down to the neck right here, and ensuring a seamless blend and application. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, put some dots here, and I'm trying to avoid putting it here in these areas because I'm going to be putting concealer there, and I don't want to overload product on my face, especially since this small area under your eye is one of the thinnest parts of your face, and putting too much product there can lead to creasing, which is a problem that a lot of people always have when they are applying their makeup. So again, stippling motions, I am pushing the products into my face, and that's why it's important that I have that primer and that moisturizer so that I have a barrier. And I've done that portion of my face already. And since it's a very natural, soft glam, I'm not looking to put too much product. So these dots are perfect to ensure that, of course, it is spread all over the face and it gives a seamless look. Now you may be saying, oh my gosh, this looks a little bit tedious. And why you kind of just swirl that around your face and finish. But really, we want to ensure that we have a smooth canvas. Like I said, if you use these motions, you're going to spread the product and you might even disturb it where you have already put it. Always ensure that you blend into your hairline so that there is no missing parts or you look like you see a separation here from the makeup. You're trying to avoid any of that. You want natural, seamless finishes at all times. All right. So now I've done my foundation, and as you can see, it is all applied and there's not much of a difference because like I said, we're doing a natural look. We're not taking away from the face or making ourselves look like something else. We're just giving ourselves a nice little enhancement. Now we're going to add concealer, and again I'm going back for that shade that I said is lighter than my foundation, and I can show it to you since Auntie Kathy asked a while ago how I can tell that. So here on my palette, I have my foundation, and this is the shade that I'm going to use to conceal my face. So like I said, you can put it out on something and you can see the differences in the shades. I'm going to use a brush like this. It's a round top brush, and I'm going to pick up that concealer and put it here under my eyes and on the bridge of my nose for that highlighting effect. And I'm going to make this shape, and I'm coming down here as well, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now please, you need to trust the process because it might look a little crazy with that shape that I am putting on my face, but I promise it's going to blend out and give you that seamless, perfect looking makeup. So back to building on that complexion. Now this one is the one that was 2 shades lighter. And so I'm going to pick up the one that was 1 shade lighter to put on the other parts of my face because we want that natural glow in these areas. We don't want that bright highlight like we want for under our eyes. And we're going to pick up a nice concealer brush. They call it a paw print. It looks like a little cat paw. It's a paw brush. And it just does this so perfectly. So again, stippling motions. This one you can use a little more round off. But stippling is the best for ensuring that the product goes where you want it to go and not where it wants to go. Now that concealer under my eyes, I am going to leave it to sit a little bit to improve that coverage that it gives me in that area because I want that area to be brighter than I want that those other areas. And what I'm going to do, just like when we did the eyeshadow, I'm going back in with my foundation brush to blend out the edges of where I put that concealer. Now, because I want a sharp nose and I'm going to do some nose contour, I'm going to do this little line in the center of my nose here, like this, and blend it out. Again, stippling motion so it will stay in that general area. Now I'm going to move on to bronzing or contouring. I'm going to do bronzing since this is meant to be a daytime look. But if we were going into the nighttime, we would definitely do contouring. Now, they do two different things. For bronzing, you add it into the areas where you closer to where you would blush because you want it to be where the sun hits the face in this area. If it was contour, you would put it underneath the cheekbone to create a shadow and give the face more definition. So I'm using a cream bronzer and I am going to blend it into this area here, ensuring that I don't go too far down my face. This is a very light bronzer. It is more brown than it would be compared to contour, which would be grayer on the grayer side of things because it creates a shadow. This is meant to bronze and give you that sun-kissed look that a lot of people like to achieve. And of course, we're building. So you see, I keep going back and I keep adding until I get that desired color that I want for my face. And now back again with that foundation brush to ensure seamless transitions between the bronzer and the concealer and the foundation. Now I'm going to pick up a brush and put a little bit of contour onto my bronzer, onto my nose. And this one is in this shape here. It's an angled brush. And I'm going to pick up that product and bring it down the side, the bridge of my nose. And I'm going to blend it into this part of my eye up there to ensure a seamless finish. Now, I usually would spray between each step to ensure longevity. To ensure that the makeup lasts longer, I would use my setting spray between each step. I'm going to use my blush now. And of course, we want it to be light. And we're going to put just some dots in this area above where we put the bronzer to give ourselves a nice little natural blushed look. And I'm going to use this fluffy brush to blend that out. Don't be intimidated by having a little pink on the cheek. It gives you a very nice, pretty blushed look in the end. Again, stippling motions, and I'm blending towards my ear or up towards my hair. And back to that foundation brush again to blend it out. Now I'm going to spray my face using my setting spray. And I am going to blend out that concealer I put under my eye. All the liquid products have now been blended out. And I'll go back in with my foundation brush once again to ensure that everything is seamlessly blended. And now to reinforce the colors, I'm going to use powder. I'm going to use powder bronzer, powder blush, and face powder. Now, the first thing I would do is use a pressed powder to set before I even go in with my loose powder. I'm going to use a pressed powder under my eye when it has dried. To ensure that smooth canvas, I'm pressing that powder into my face using this powder puff. Press, 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 press. And of course, down that nose for that desired look. This pressed powder is in my skin tone. And then on top of that pressed powder, I would use my loose powder. Now, I'm not going to use the loose powder directly onto my face. I'm going to put some onto my powder puff. It will look like this. And then I'm going to pat it into the back of my hand and place it on the face like so. This powder is translucent so that when it blends out, it will be matched with my skin tone. I'm only putting this loose powder under my eyes here, on the sides of my nose for that sharp, defined contour, and some in the center, like so. Now I'm going to pick up my powder products. I'm going to pick up this contour and blush palette here. And now I'm going to reinforce what I did with those liquids. So I'm going to that color first to reinforce my bronzer. So any liquid products that you place on your face, you need to set them in place with powder products to ensure longevity and good wear. So I'm pressing this into my face like so. Back in those areas where I bronzed earlier. And then I'm going to pick up the blush on that brush and I'm going to blend it out on my face because I'm reinforcing what I already put down with the liquid so that it stays on my face and it gives me that nice, pretty soft matte look. And back to that nose again. I'm going to pick up that brush that I used to do the nose contour and blend out that contour on my nose. That bronzer on my nose. Same places, just putting powder now where I put the creams. And then I'm going to pick up a clean brush and dust off that loose setting powder that I put to bake my face or to ensure that this is matte and clean and seamless. And I'm going to once again go back in with the foundation brush and blend it out. Blend everything in together. That last step is to once again spray my face with some setting spray. With your eyes closed. And let it dry. And the last step we're going to move on to is lips. So while that setting spray is drying, I'm going to pick up a lip liner. I'm going to just use a brown liner and follow that natural shape of my lips. I'm going to tap my lips together to blend it out. So just following the natural outline of the lips. And to once again create that ombre look, which is two different colors blended out, I'm going to pick up a small brush like so and take some nude lipstick and place it in the center here. I'm going to blend it. And as you can see, it's been blended together. And I'm going to top that off with a clear gloss. I'm going to use my disposable lip wand. And last but not least, I'm going to use a finishing spray which this one compared to the fixing spray has alcohol in it to ensure long wear. So after this has dried, this is the makeup routine all complete.
Beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. And we can see the difference between the before and after. And I have learned so much. I've been doing it all wrong. I've been doing it all wrong. Good evening to all our guests who are on. Thank you so much for joining us and for staying with us when Shania goes through how we do the process of application. And you spoke about stippling and makeup. Applying makeup is really an art because there's also when you're doing painting, in painting, there
Right.
is this stippling
Yes.
technique that you use when
Yes.
you're using paint so that it doesn't also drip. So for it to stay where it is in place. So it's an art and some
Yes, it
it
is.
might yeah, it's really, really an art and a skill. Credits to you. This is really, really wonderful. And but I had a question. I would done a question. I would done a question. So I have hair of my face. My forehead is much darker than there. How do we apply that? Do we use the same foundation? Do we use a powder? I remember once, many, many years ago, a friend of mine told me when you buy powder, you have to buy it a shade lighter than your
Lighter.
foundation or something.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Just like the concealer, you would buy a powder that is lighter and that so basically you can buy a powder that matches your concealer shade. So
Okay.
the powder that I use, well, the first powder that I just used was 330, which is
Mm-hmm.
not, that's a little too light because my shade is 335. But
Mm-hmm.
I would use like, okay, so my foundation shade is 335, so I would pick up a powder that's 332,
Mm-hmm.
334 to do that lighter. But if I want it lighter like I did right now, that 330 is a perfect shade to use.
Okay.
It's fine because it doesn't create that much of a contrast, but it does give you that highlight, which is what you look for when you put on this powder.
Okay. So one thing I'm doing good, I use the Fit Me brand of Maybelline, and
Uh-huh.
what Shania is referring to, the numbers she's talking about, the numbers refer to the
See.
shades. So different shades have different numbers. So when you go to the Fit Me line, you will see. So it's easy to when you're buying, or if you have somebody buying for you,
For
you
you.
can just tell them what the number is, and they'll be able to pick it up.
Yes.
So foundation has to be the same color with your concealer and a shade lighter than your foundation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So back to the using those two things. How do I blend the colors between my forehead and there, this V part of my face?
You're saying that this V part of your face is darker.
No, it's lighter. My forehead is much darker than the rest of my face.
Ah, all right. Of course, like I said, since you want to match down to your neck, that's a common problem, hyperpigmentation, where you have a darker edges of your face or
Mhm,
just darker
mhm.
areas and lighter areas. But you can use that one foundation tone and blend it all out.
Okay.
And then you would use concealer. So if you said that it's lighter, then when you blend out this area here will be contoured or bronzed anyway, so it would naturally have darker complexion products there. So you just ensure that you blend out the foundation, and the foundation, if you're using a good foundation, of course the Maybelline Fit Me is a good one, you'll be able to give yourself that coverage that you need, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's different.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much for all that. So when we see your face, and all the different brushes in it, but I really do need an hour to do all that on my face because it actually took us an hour.
It did.
Actually took us an hour. So you need to have time to do this.
You
And
do.
sometimes I do see people every day with their face imperfection. We're running a little over time, but I'm gonna ask my audience to just give us 5 minutes so we can round up the session, the episode tonight. What would you what is your advice to your clients about when we come, we had a good time, we did all of this, we went out, we had a ball of a time, and we come home. Some people go to sleep with their makeup. What
Yes.
should we do? Is that a
Of
good thing?
Of course, please don't sleep in your makeup or wear your makeup for multiple days, because there are people who have come to do their makeup and woken up the next day, like for example, in the festive season, and they've gone to two events with one look on their face. All right. I mean, that of course speaks for the longevity and the good application that they got. However, when you come home and you're done with your event, you come home and you want to wash off that makeup off your face. So you can use, there's cleansing oils, there's cleansing balms, or you can just use your face wash, or you can use soap and water. Okay, just use soap and water and remove that makeup. You can use a microfiber towel to rub off all the makeup that you have on your face, and then ensure that you clean your face. If I have used the Milk of Magnesia on you, or that RERUN skin prep toner, for example, I would recommend that you exfoliate your skin, because it can be pretty drying and it can also clog your pores. So it's important that, just as how it's important that you wash your face and you ensure that you come with a clean face before you come to your appointment, it's important that when you are done wearing your makeup, that you properly remove it from your face to avoid clogged pores and breakouts.
I use for daily things CeraVe, as well as the microcellular water
Oh,
on my
yes, the
face.
micellar water.
So
Yes.
yeah, what did I say it correct?
No.
What is it? What is the
The
correct name?
micellar water.
My Say it again.
Micellar.
All right, micellar water. I put a crow in there. Micellar water, micellar water, and CeraVe. That's what I use. Um, or sometimes we can use face makeup removers. They're the
Yes,
creamy
there
ones
are makeup
or the milky
removers.
ones.
There are
Yeah,
makeup balms. There are
right.
cleansing balms. Cleansing oils as well. There's
Yeah.
little bottles of oils that you can just put on the face, and you just completely remove it, and then you wash it with some warm water after.
Mm. Remember, you need to clean your face off every evening, with
Yes.
or without makeup. I mean, imagine people talking in your face all day. You're going to sleep with all that energy and spit all over your face. Sorry for being gross, but yeah. So thank you so much, Shania. This has been really, really educational sit down for
I'm
me.
glad.
I know
I'm
for
very glad.
me in particular. And I mean, as I said, yes, I have some idea, but I have been doing it wrong. So thank you so much. What will be your last tips to give to our audience?
All right. So, well, of course, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And I hope that the tutorial was very educational for you, and that you could pick up some things or learn some things from what I said. Of course, like I said, it's important that you find a routine that is suited to you, that includes skincare as well as makeup, because the shades that I used on myself are, of course, not the products that I'm going to use on somebody else. It is also important that you use clean brushes, clean tools. Like we say, you're dealing with your eyes, and your eyes are a very sensitive part of your body, and you want to ensure that you are using clean brushes and tools and products on that part of your face. As well, of course, if you're going to use your hand and use your finger to apply eyeshadows, you want to ensure that your hands are clean. Constantly during your makeup routine, you can spray it with rubbing alcohol. I have my bottle, my trusty bottle right here, and I keep my hands clean because I am touching faces, and it's so easy to pick up germs and transfer it, and then it's so easy to get a sty in your eye. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So of course, you want to use clean tools, you want to use clean makeup, makeup that is vegan, makeup that is hypoallergenic and that is good for your skin tone. And of course, you want to ensure that you're going out there looking and feeling your best self. So don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't wear makeup or you look better without it, because trust me, you can do both.
Thank you so much. I guess one time we'll have to do a session, a quick a quick application, something I can do in 15 minutes.
All right.
So
Sure.
thank you again so much for your time. I pray that all of you will learn something. Send us mail at the Youth Effect 767 at gmail.com. Tell us what you think about it, or also go back to our YouTube page at TDN Network 1 on YouTube and tell us what you think. If you are watching this now or looking at the replay, tell us what you think. Tell us, give us comments as well as
Yes.
what you would like us to guests I'd like to bring on to you. So I want to thank Shania and we wish you all the best. There are a lot of events going on home now because it's carnival season
Right.
and a lot of people are back home to enjoy their time. Thank you so much. I'm glad you learned a lot of stuff. And I'm sure Miss Valerie, yes. So I am looking forward. I'm going to send you a picture when next time I have to go out now and buy a whole set of products so I can do my face, and I'm going to send you a picture. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can follow. I'm going to follow your tutorial and I am going to send you a picture on Shania taught me this.
Yes.
Thank you again. And if you're looking at us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, remember to like and subscribe and keep on following us, or put your notifications on for whenever an episode comes out. And thank
Right.
you so much once again. You have an awesome week and be awesome. Have a good week. Be grateful. Do your gratefulness notes every night, at least 3 things that you're grateful for. First thing is we woke up today, and you can take it from there. So see you next Monday and have a great week. Thank you once again. I'm Kathy Robinson Sayan, tuning out for the Youth Effect. Thank you to Sam and all the other people in the background. Good night.
Yeah, wouldn't end. We back with another one for the youths in them. Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve. Your dreams are seeds, so and just watch them grow. But you gotta believe in the youth effect. We're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock